guys, welcome back to the channel. Glad you're here with us today because we are starting a brand new series called The Ultimate Lineup. What this series entails is I'm going to bring on guests probably about once a month, and they're going to show baseball cards of their favorite player in each position and then talk about their ultimate lineup, hence the name. So tonight's our first episode, and I've got an incredible guest tonight to kick this off on our series premiere. So without further ado, let me bring him in. Hey, Orlando. How
Hi,
are you?
Darren. Great to see you. Thanks for inviting me, especially on the first episode. I love it.
Absolutely. No, my pleasure. I appreciate you doing this. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So, kind of like I mentioned in the intro, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the card of the player that if you were to create your ultimate lineup, who would they be? What player in each position? And you'll show a card for each of them. So, kind of without further ado, if you want to start with pitchers, let's go ahead and do that. And then we'll chat about why we're picking the different players.
Okay.
Awesome.
So, I so from what I got from you initially was just go ahead and pick your best player in every position, and then we'll do a lineup. Right?
Yep.
That's what we wanted. Okay. So, um, and it's based on I'm basing it because you kind of left it at that. So
Hmm.
the way I'm looking at it is I'm looking at my favorite players. So I'm going to be picking a lot of Yankee players, but I'm
Love it.
picking who I think are, the greats, and they may not be the best at that position, but in my opinion, they're maybe my favorite. They're up there. Now, there are certain cards, of course, that I do not have playing days, and I'm going with playing days. I kind of made it that I'm going to go with playing days cards, and then start that route. So
Perfect.
with pitchers, I don't have Walter Johnson because he is my number one choice, but I don't have a Walter Johnson playing days card, so I can't include him. you know, so as my if I'm looking for a right-handed pitcher, and the way I'm looking at it is Hall of Famer, but I'm looking for somebody that if I need to win the game, this is who I want for me on this day because I guess it's the ultimate game and the ultimate lineup. That's the way I'm interpreting it. Okay,
Perfect.
so I got one game that I need to win, and who am I going to put there as the top my right-handed pitcher? And I'm going to go with Bob Gibson.
Beautiful.
I'm going to go with Bob Gibson. This is the rookie card in an 8. So I got to go with Gibson because he was dominating when he pitched. He was unbeatable, especially in his prime. And I'm going to go with people like this in their prime because I mean, you could pick a Cy Young, 500 wins and stuff like that with stats, but I think in his prime, a pitcher like Bob Gibson was unbeatable. Especially in the 60s. I mean, they literally had to lower the mound because of Bob Gibson.
Yeah.
That's how good and how dominating he was. So, as a right-handed pitcher, my starting pitcher.
Perfect. And yeah, just to kind of go back to what you said, that's a great choice, right? Because imagine if you brought in Bob Gibson, you said, "Hey, I need you to pitch 4 innings for me. That's it. Everything you got for 4 innings." He'd be going perfect into those 4 innings, right? Because you got your righty, then your lefty, then you've got your closer, right? So, having him say, "Look, you're going to pitch 4 innings, and that's all you got to pitch." I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah, and you didn't want to be in the batter's box when he was pitching. I mean,
No.
he was just when he was at his best, he was unhittable.
Hmm.
So that's my right-handed pitcher. So want me to go with the left-handed pitcher?
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, my lefty, and again, there's a lot of good left-handed pitchers out there, and there's a lot, in the early 1900s I can go with, but if I'm looking at one person who win that game, who was the most dominant left-handed pitcher of his day, I've got to go with Sandy Koufax.
Oh,
I
the
mean,
best.
the left hand of God.
Yep.
You know, you got to go with Sandy Koufax. He was, again, like Bob Gibson during his prime, unhittable,
Hmm.
completely unhittable. And I got this card from Sammy Thunder.
Oh, beautiful. Love
I
it.
got it. So it's in a 3, but it's a Dylan, beautifully centered Dylan card.
Yeah, that is beautifully, so that's a
Nice,
great eye
nice
appeal.
color. Yeah, yeah. So I think, yeah. I mean, you give me any left-handed pitcher that is better than Sandy Koufax during his prime. If you for one big game, I got to put it right up there. I mean, in my opinion, that's going to be the guy I'd go with as far as left-handed pitcher that can really win it for me.
Yeah,
When
no, he's a great choice. So it's actually kind of funny just thinking about the two choices that you made. Imagine seeing Gibson pitch all out for 4 innings. He comes out, Koufax comes in for 4 more innings. You don't really even need you don't need an offense, and you really
yeah,
don't need anybody in the field because they both be basically going perfect into the 8th inning.
I mean, it's going to be some tough lineup to even get a hit off any of these guys. I mean, especially again, I'm looking at them in their prime. You know, I
Mhm.
know that they didn't have, Koufax didn't have these long careers, but I'm looking at, kind of said, what's my lineup? My best pitchers at their best, and that's who I'm going to go with. Now, relief pitching. I'm not a big fan of relief pitching at all. I mean, Mariano Rivera is the only one that I would say yes, a lock, and I would probably use him right now as a reliever. I'm going to go a different route. I'm
Okay.
going to go with someone that I think was the most dominating pitcher of all time. And this guy had the most pitches, and he could pitch to anyone at any time and strike him out because you never ever knew what he was going to throw or what he was going to do on the mound. So I'm going to bring in relief, none other than Satchel Paige.
Oh, beautiful. That 53 tops. That's one of the best looking cards in the hobby, I think.
Yeah, yeah. This one is authentic. I got this many years ago. This one, you can't even tell what it's the problem with it. It's one of those that's been pressed in one of those card.
Oh, the screw downs.
Yeah, it came out as a pressed, but the card is a beautiful card.
That's
I mean, you
beautiful.
can't see anything with it.
No, that thing's
Can't tell
beautiful.
it's anything. Even those red borders, which always chip.
Yeah, that's a
And
beautiful
yeah,
card.
and it's pretty nicely centered. So I just never. I had it graded a couple years ago. I just never replaced it. I don't think I need to.
Yeah,
It's a
absolutely
beautiful
not. That
card for me.
that's a beautiful card.
Yeah. So I'm bringing in Satchel Paige. He's going to throw junk at everybody. He's going to get everybody out.
Yeah.
He'll throw all his crazy pitches, and
So
who
that's
better to bring in but the old
100% agree.
man?
He's actually a great because he would throw hard for 9 innings and he would do it. He would start multiple days in a row sometimes between barnstorming and regular season. When I was researching him for my other series, he would travel and there'd be days where he would pitch 9 innings and then take a bus or a plane next morning, pitch 9 more innings in the next game. Like just so imagine a guy like that saying, "You've got to strike out 3 people as hard as you can. You got to strike out 3 people."
Yeah,
I mean, that's so basically you're pitching. Your pitchers have combined for a perfect game, so that's awesome.
he was a guy that he would, the stories are there. He told the infield, just sit down, guys, don't worry about it. I'm going to
Yes.
strike this guy out right now.
Yep.
And he did what he was gonna what he did. I mean, his arm was like a whip.
Mhm.
He was tall and skinny, kind of like a Randy Johnson style.
Yep.
Not as tall, of course, but he was a pretty tall guy for his. I guess let's see how tall he was. I think he was like 6. Check it out here. See what the card says. Yeah, he was 6'3".
There you go.
So think about 6'3". When he played, this guy played all the way from 40s, 50s, 60s, and so on. 6'3" is a big guy. pretty
Oh
tall
yeah.
guy back in the day,
Oh yeah.
and he
Six
had
three
this,
back then would be like a Randy Johnson
yeah,
6'10.
he had this whip of an arm, and then he threw everything but the kitchen sink out there. I
Hmm.
mean, he threw the slow ball, the slower ball, the slowest ball, the, you name it, he threw it in. So I think for him to get, uh, if I need to win that game and I need somebody to pitch 1 or 2 innings, I'm throwing Satchel Paige in there. So
Nice.
those are my pitchers.
I love it. That is a
Yeah.
great pitching lineup.
So you want to move on to catcher?
Yeah, let's go to catcher. Perfect.
Okay, let me get my catcher here. I think catcher. There's a lot of great catchers out there, and there's a lot of great, even Yankee catchers out there, from Bill Dickey to Yogi Berra and things like that. And even in the old days, there's some really really good catchers back in the day. But I looking at overall their career and everything that they've done and championships and all, I've got to go with I think the greatest catcher of all time, and that's Johnny Bench.
Ooh,
And this is my
beautiful.
favorite Johnny Bench card. I don't not a big fan of the rookie card, but this is my favorite Johnny Bench card with the old style uniform, and it's got, of course, the rookie cup trophy, actually rookie trophy,
Uh-huh.
and you see his full face there without the cap,
Yep.
and very very young Johnny Bench. So
That's a
I think,
beautiful card.
yeah, I graded that this year. I bought it raw, and it came back an eight and a
Oh,
half, and I
wow.
was so thrilled, man.
That's an awesome grade for a card you had graded yourself from 1969. I mean, 8.5, that's amazing. What's
Yeah,
funny is Hugo just did a video about that card, and he pointed out that in the center
in the
field,
background, yes.
yeah, they're advertising for the Village Inn, which is one of my favorite places to get pancakes.
And I actually had been to that Village Inn that he went to. I think it was off of Dale Mabry in Tampa. I used to live in
Yep.
Tampa. And I've been to the Village Inn a bunch of times and see if we could get a good look at that
Yeah,
there.
there it is. That's
That's the
great.
Village Inn. And that's what I love this card also, because it has the old time signage in the back. And he talked about that. A
Yep.
lot of the cards nowadays, they don't do any of that anymore. So that's my catcher.
Nice.
So let's go with first base. And first base is going to be my first Yankee player, and it's got to be Lou Gehrig.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Don Mattingly. All right.
No, I got to go with Lou Gehrig. I mean, yeah, Don Mattingly, he's great, but he's not a Hall of Famer.
No,
Always stick
Gehrig.
with Hall of Famers, and you can't beat Lou Gehrig. And this is my favorite Lou Gehrig card. I just love this card.
That's a
It's
beautiful
just
card. So I think that's my national goal card this year for the national.
yeah,
Picking that, I love Lou Gehrig. He was an amazing player. Obviously, cut down in his prime. If you look
yeah,
at his numbers, like his average numbers per season, if he had played like a 20 season career and didn't get sick, he
right,
would have been the all-time runs leader, the all-time RBI leader. He would have
yeah,
easily been into the 600 home runs. He was great. Plus, he's just such an inspirational person, and that I
hmm
agree with you is his by far his best looking card.
yeah, yeah. That's why I wanted to get Jackie in there. I just don't have a Jackie Robinson card. I ended up selling all my Jackie cards years ago, so I'm not going to be able to put Jackie at second base here. But that's why I put Lou, because not just what he did in baseball, but what he also did, you know, with the Lou Gehrig's disease. I mean, it's still there. His name is still out there. He's still known not just to baseball fans, but to people all over the world.
Hmm.
And he's just a true inspiration, and just one of these legends that you got to have a Lou Gehrig card. And I love this because it's got the Lou Gehrig says on the bottom,
Yeah, that's great.
and that's just adds that little touch to the card.
Yep.
So that's Lou Gehrig, again, an awesome player. Prime, him and Babe Ruth were it. I mean, they were, you had other players in Mel Lott and other guys like that, but when you really think about it, if you look back during those 20s,
Hmm.
it was Lou Gehrig and Babe. So
Yep.
Lou was my guy. So Second base, I
Absolutely.
talked about second base. I want to put Jackie in there. I don't have any Jackie Robinson playing days cards, so I'm not including Jackie. I got to, unfortunately, take him out. And there's a lot of great second basemen out there. There's Rogers Hornsby. I would have included him. I don't have any of his cards either. Playing days. I'm trying to go with playing days cards that I have. So looking at second baseman, I'm going to go with a second baseman that I remember as a kid. I watched as a kid play. This guy was one of these second basemen that nobody ever thought that he was going to be very successful. I like guys that are kind of underdogs, and this guy was 5'7", and but he was a powerful hitter, and he's a Hall of Famer. And this is my favorite card of him, and it's Joe Morgan.
Oh, nice choice.
So I didn't tell you about my second baseman. I was trying to find somebody, but you know what? I remember Joe Morgan. I remember him playing. I remember how good he was. And this is his card in the Astros. And yeah, most people don't remember him with the Astros, but he was just a winner. And if you look back and you look at second baseman, I'll show you a better picture here. Get a better look at Joe Morgan here. I don't have any graded cards from Joe Morgan. Most of my cards, kind of the 60s and stuff, are raw for the most part, and the 70s are raw. I got a lot of
Those are
big
great
names.
cards.
Yeah, the big names I got them graded, but this is from my set. Both of these cards I pulled from packs myself back when I was a kid. So,
oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So for those listening that aren't watching, Orlando showed us 70 and 71 Joe Morgan. And the 71, that was his favorite one. It's obviously, we all know it's got the black border on it, but it's a really cool image because it's of him hitting, and he's finishing his swing, and you could see the you got the catcher and the umpire there. It's a really cool kind of inaction card.
1971 was really the first year that they came out with the inaction cards. And I just remember pulling those cards out of packs for the first time, because 1970, as you saw also with the gray border, they were boring. It was a boring set.
I agree.
And that was kind of the first set I put together. And then when I first opened the 71s, the black borders just jumped right out. And when I saw the first action shot, it's just something that stuck in my mind and my memory. And again, I saw Joe Morgan play throughout his entire career. And I think second baseman, I think he stands up there with, he's not going to be the top, but I think he, if you really look at people that look at the stats, I think he is a top 5 second baseman of all time, in my opinion. He's just kind of, again, he's a personal favorite. So I'm going that route with that. And shortstop again, I'm going to go with maybe a controversial figure. Of course, number 1 shortstop ever of all time is Honus Wagner. I mean, he is, to me, heads above every other shortstop. I don't, don't give me the Cal Ripkins or the Ozzie Smiths or any of those guys. They can't touch Honus Wagner. So, but I don't have any Honus Wagner playing days cards. So one day, I mean, I'm working towards that.
There you go.
I'm going to be doing some trades and taking some cards to Strongsville to trade, and hoping I can pick up something that I need. Like I've talked, Walter Johnson, Honus Wagner, whatever, not too expensive, but we'll see what happens. But anyway, Honus Wagner would be my first choice. So, since I'm from Cuba, originally from Cuba, and born, kind of raised in Miami all my entire life, I'm going to go with a Miami boy, Alex Rodriguez. I'm going with A-Rod as my choice for the top shortstop. As far as, we're talking about a lineup, a hitting lineup is what I'm looking at mostly. And, Ozzie Smith's not going to hit a lick on at all. And Ripken's not going to be a big hitter, but you give me A-Rod, and I know, he's a steroid guy, of course. I look at him kind of the same as Barry Bonds, a surefire Hall of Famer that did not need to take the steroids. Would have been a Hall of Famer if he didn't take steroids.
Yep.
But unfortunately, they did, and it was the times, and that's the way it is. But I know he's not in the Hall of Fame right now, but over 600 home runs, over 300 batting average. I mean, countless other awards that he won. I mean, he revolutionized. They say that Ripken revolutionized the shortstop position because he was a big, tall guy, but A-Rod blew him out of the water, and A-Rod was
Yeah.
also a big guy too. And he was the first kind of big, strong, power hitting shortstop. That I can recall, and again, it's my lineup, somebody I
Hey,
like, and
he's a great choice. I mean, you
I'm
look
going to
at
put him in there.
absolutely. You look at those seasons that he played for Texas, and it was just incredible. Led the league in home runs all 3 seasons, batting average, runs scored a couple times, RBIs. Like absolutely incredible player. He's a great choice for shortstop.
And it's just a shame that but again, it's in the era, and he would have been a surefire Hall of Famer anyway. I think like Bonds. They let me see my third baseman. Like Bonds, he kind of started. You don't know exactly when they started doing the PDs, but I'm assuming it was kind of the mid to later part of their careers.
Mm-hmm.
Because similar, Griffey went that route with Bonds. Griffey did, kind of went down after Sturdy's, where Bonds shot up. So I
Right.
think that's kind of the similar with A-Rod's career.
Yep.
But I still consider him, you tell me put a shortstop in the lineup. I'm gonna put A-Rod in there.
There you go. Yeah.
So going now to third baseman, and again a lot of great third basemen, but this was to me probably the easiest choice of them all. Of any position, of any era. I don't know of any third baseman that was better than Mike Jack Schmidt.
Beautiful card. So for those listening, Orlando's showing his 1973 Topps rookie card and an SGC 7. It's a beautiful example. It's very, very well centered. Great eye appeal on that one.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, Mike Schmidt was just, incredible. I mean, I would love to have somebody like my favorite player was Brooks Robinson because I met him and all that. And yeah, great player, but like Ozzy, yeah, he's going to shine and he's going to do good. He's going to get some big hits and all that and be awesome in the field. But you give me a third baseman that's going to do it all.
Yep.
Someone that's got power, that hits for average, that plays great defense. I don't think there's anybody that can match Mike Schmidt. I
Mm-hmm.
just don't see anybody. I looked through and I kind of went through and I even Googled, who are the top 10 and all that. And you get a lot of different choices. But again, I remember him playing. I remember his career completely, from when he came on. Again, this is another card that I pulled from the packs
Oh, that's awesome.
myself. Yeah. This came from my original collection.
Cool.
And, Mike Schmidt, what else can I say? He's got to be the best third baseman without a doubt. And I'll argue that one all the way down.
100% agree with you. I think the only third baseman that comes close to him was your shortstop.
Well, yeah, because he kind of switched over there. So so that's what I got there. So now we're going to the outfield.
Okay.
And outfield is take a sip of water here. Well, you know what? Let's do this. You told me to pick outfield and then pick a designated hitter.
Okay. Yep.
Let's go with the DH.
Okay.
Because the DH is an outfielder for me. I mean, outfield is, of course, the prominent position in all of baseball. You've got all the big stars that played outfield throughout, in their careers. I mean, from Reggie to Willie to Hank to I mean you go on and on and on and on and it's probably and it is the toughest position to go with. So what I did was I picked kind of my what I thought were four best hitting outfielders, but also pick some that are good defense too, because I need a little defense in the outfield.
Sure.
So I took one of those outfielders out, and I'm going to put him as a DH.
Okay.
So my DH is going to be probably the greatest hitter of all time, and that's Ted Williams.
Oh, there we go. 57 tops. Beautiful
57
card.
tops. Yeah. And this one is in an 8.
Ooh, there you go. Nice grade
Yeah.
on that one. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a great
It,
card.
it's a tough one because it's the number 1 card in the set.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough card to get in that. And I actually I built the 57 set at one
Nice.
time, and this came from the set that I built. I eventually broke the set and kept the best cards. And this
Nice.
one, I couldn't believe when it came back an 8. But it is a beautiful card. It's beautifully centered, and and Ted Williams, he wrote the book. Literally wrote the book
He
on
did.
hitting. I
He
mean,
did.
yeah. Who better to have as a DH in there? He knows pitchers. He studies pitchers. He was one of the first guys that actually studied pitchers and things like that, and would go back and look at his previous at bats and see how he did and what the pitchers threw him and all that stuff. I mean, he was, the, perennial hitter. I mean, when you name a true hitter in baseball,
That's him.
in my
Yeah.
mind. So
What's great about having him in your lineup is he gets on base more often than any other player in the history of baseball.
exactly. So I gotta go with him.
Perfect.
So now we got the 3 outfielders. I ended up picking 3 Yankees, and
As you should.
Probably would have guessed that already. And so I'm gonna pick as I guess they could be interchangeable, right, left, and so I'm going to start. But I think I'm going to go with a center fielder that predated Mickey Mantle, and that's Joe DiMaggio.
Beautiful.
The
I 48, 49 leaf.
Yeah, when Joe DiMaggio was hot, no one was hotter. The 56 game hit streak, just a consistent over 330 hitter. I mean, the guy was just, he was the Yankees in his era, right between Ruth and Mantle. He was it. He kept the entire franchise going.
Mm-hmm.
There were other players there, of course, but, he was it. I mean, Joe D, not just a superstar, but he was, the star of the day with Marilyn Monroe. The guy was everywhere. He was just so well known, and may not have been the most liked person, but he was probably the face. In my opinion, I think he was the face of baseball back in those days. So this is the 49 leaf. This one's in a 5.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. So that's the Joe DiMaggio. So I'm gonna put him in center field, and that's where unfortunately there was that situation where Mantle came in and got hurt in the 51 series. That DiMaggio went to catch that. Well, actually, Mantle went to catch the ball at the last minute. DiMaggio called him off. Mantle respected that. Went to stop. Got a foot stuck in a sprinkler and busted his knee, and that kind of messed up his career. But DiMaggio, I think I'm going to use him as one of my 3 outfielders.
Nice.
And then my next outfielder, it's got to be my favorite player, and that's got to be the Mick. And I got to go with my Mick card. I can't do the video without showing you this card one more time.
Okay, so for those that aren't watching this and they're just listening, Orlando is showing probably the most perfect looking 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle I have ever seen. His card is absolutely amazing. I think you should get that crossed over to SGC, because there's no way they're gonna screw you and give you that authentic altered. That is a perfect card that deserves that is a 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle that deserves a 9.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, and I don't. SGC has already reviewed it. I just was scared to get it out of the slab, but SGC said that it's a minimum size there.
Oh,
the minimum.
No.
See, there it is.
I don't believe it. It's all right. So minimum size. It's a hair smaller than it should be. It still looks absolutely perfect.
Yeah, but it is confirmed that it is not altered at all or anything like that. So, but I just hesitant to have someone take it out of the slab and re-slab it. You know, you hear nightmares of things happening like that,
It's
and just
funny
to
you say that. I
and to
bought a
put
new
something like
card.
this, and I don't even want to mail this away. I mean,
No,
you
you
know,
don't
I'd
wanna
have
do
to
anything to it.
physically take it to SGC's office, and I want to physically watch somebody crack this slab.
I'm with you.
I'm I'm hesitant to do that, and but I did want to get another opinion, and so anyway, that's
Sure.
it. So I'm gonna go with the Mick.
Perfect. So Orlando, I'll tell you, it's definitely be nervous cracking it. So I bought this card to get it signed by Nolan Ryan. I bought it in a 7. I got it today, like at 2 hours ago. I cracked it out of the case. When I cracked it out of the case, the plastic snapped and it dented the side of the card right here. So now my 7 is
Yeah,
probably now a 3. So be very, very, very careful with that card.
yeah, yeah. That's why it may be in that slab forever, but at least I have a letter. I have a thing from SGC saying that it is that it's not altered. It's minimum size, and they will re-slab it because it's already been paid to review it. But I'm scared.
No, I'm
That's
with
the
you.
bottom line. That's what it comes down to. I'm
I'm
just
with
scared to
you.
re-slab it.
I'm with
Maybe
you.
maybe when the day I go to sell it, I may then re-slab it, or may probably it'll probably be sold at an auction house when I decide to sell it,
Mhm.
and then the auction house can decide if they want to go ahead and re-slab it
There you go. Put it on them.
into that choice. Yeah, put it on them. But I'm not messing with it. It's not going to leave my collection, and you know, I'll look at it whatever plastic it's in. Doesn't matter to me.
100%. That I mean, that card, who
Yeah,
cares what the grade says? You look at that card and
exactly,
it's a perfect looking card.
exactly. Yeah. Thank you very much, Jay. Appreciate it. So we're down to the final choice, and who else but the greatest player in the history of baseball? I've got to include the Babe. So the Babe's going to be my
Beautiful.
third outfielder.
There you go. That's
He's not
perfect. So
been the best defensive player, so we'll stick him out somewhere in the field or
there you
whatever.
go. Perfect.
But
Oh,
who cares?
yeah, I would say with your pitching staff, you don't really have to worry about anybody hitting the ball out there. So oh, it's
So this
beautiful.
is the American Caramel. It's the E122. It's a E120, 1922 E120 American Caramel.
And
It's
then
in the old slab.
SGC3.
It's an SG3 in the old slab.
That's a beautiful card. That
So
is
that's the Babe there, and then it just has a beautiful ornate border. I love the
mhm.
border on that. He's holding the ball there, and the back has the lineup of the New York
Oh,
Americans,
nice.
is what they're called. And the neat thing about this is in the back, if you look at who the first baseman was, it was Wally Pipp. And it was the last year, it was 1922,
Yep.
because Gary came in 1923.
Yep.
So the year after this card was made, Wally Pipp was out and Lou Gehrig came in.
There you go.
So that's kind of a little bit of an interesting thing. So the Babe is going to be my final outfielder. So that's going to be
Perfect.
my 9. Now you're asking me to go with a lineup.
Yes.
Who's going to bat first? So first, I want somebody that's going to be a contact hitter, that's going to take walks and stuff like that, and it's going to be a little short guy. I mean, I don't have Ricky Henderson on my list, so I can't use him. So I'm going to use I'm going to use Joe Morgan.
There you go.
First hitter is going to be Joe Morgan. I think he's a good contact hitter. I think he'll get on base. He can steal a few bases. I think he's for first. I'm going to go with him.
All right, so you got Joe Morgan leading off.
Joe Morgan leading off. Second, I'm going to go with A-Rod. I think he batted second
Okay.
sometimes. And he's again he's a good hitter. He's going to be a good contact hitter there, and he'll take his walks, and he may hit a home run here or there. So I'm going to go with A-Rod. This is going to be a home run hitting
I
lineup,
was gonna
so that's
say
why I'm saying
he'll hit a home run now and then. That's
it's
maybe.
it's going to be crazy. But what am I going to do? I got all
Hey,
home run hitters.
yeah,
Third batter, Garrick.
nice.
Uh, he's going to be number 3 in my book here. So who else are you going to put as a third hitter? And then who am I going to put as the cleanup hitter? It's got to be the Babe.
Oh, of course.
so so fourth batter for me is going to be the Babe. And then I'm going to put a DH in there.
Oh,
And I'm going to put Ted Williams to DH.
love it.
Fifth. He's batting fifth. And it gets tough here because they're all good hitters. So who am I going
Yeah.
to put sixth? I'm going to put the Mick.
Okay.
I don't think Mick's ever batted sixth. I think he batted 3, 4, or 5.
Yep.
But it's tough to put him ahead of Ted Williams or even Babe Ruth or
Yeah,
So
or
I'm going to put
Gehrig.
him. Yeah, and he's not a leadoff hitter. He's not one of the front end guys. So he's going to be my number 6. My 7th. So it's going to be Joe D.
Nice.
Maggio. You get him on a roll on a 56-game hitting streak, and I'm going to have. I think Joe D is going to be in there. So we're going to put Joe D in there. Then try to put. Oh God, this is so hard. Well, I only got 2 left. Who am I going to put to bat 9th? I'm not going to put Mike Schmidt batting 9th because he can hit.
Yeah.
He can hit for power.
There you go.
So he's going to be my eighth hitter. Is going to be Mike Schmidt. And unfortunately, I'm going to leave. Well, probably Johnny Bench is probably the lowest batting average of the group overall lifetime. So Johnny Bench, the best hitter. The best catcher ever. But he's going to be my ninth hitter there.
Nice.
So that is my all-time lineup and my top players by position that I have their playing days cards.
Awesome. That was an incredible lineup. I mean, I would bet that team wins that game.
I think I'd bet everything on that too. Yeah.
I
don't know who else you would put on against them. If you couldn't put these guys on your team, I don't know who else.
Yeah, if you put those guys on the team, there are other guys left, but you're not going to build a team like that. That was best of the best. That was amazing, and awesome cards too. That was all the cards you showed. I love them. They were all the most iconic cards for these players, right? Like the Gehrig, that Ruth, obviously the mantle of all mantles. But yeah, that was the great selection of cards. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on and show the cards and talk about them and talk about your ultimate lineup.
Thank you, Darren. Yeah, I know how much you appreciate a lot of those iconic cards, and we've talked, and I know the kind of cards that you like the best, and I tried to pull out some of the best of my best.
Well, you nailed it. You nailed it. I had smiling ear to ear. I loved those cards that you showed.
Yeah. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that very, very much.
Thank you so much, Orlando. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video with Orlando, the first episode of Ultimate Lineup. As we're watching right now, we'll check out a quick recap of the cards, the positions, the players, and his lineup. Hope you guys enjoyed. Talk to you next time. Thanks.